Good afternoon, everyone. Sharice Jervis Hill here, president and founder of Events to Remember and PR to Remember. And today I am filled with such gratitude to have this woman with me, someone who I adore her. She's amazing, and you will see once we get into it. But Valerie Mason Cunningham, how are you? And thank you for joining me today on Coffee with Cher, our Entrepreneurs podcast. How are you?
I am sensational by choice, Cherise, and I have to put an exclamation mark because I'm so excited to be with you today. Thank you so much. The feeling is totally mutual, and I am so grateful for you and all that you do.
Oh, thank you. All right, we need a afternoon cheers. Cheers up. I'm rocking my Madam CJ Walker for you, my
I
friend.
love it. I love it. Yes, 2023 Trailblazer Award, receiving the Madam CJ Walker Award. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
So cheers.
Cheers.
So anything fun in your cup? I'm coffee. I need coffee today. I needed that jolt of caffeine. What about you?
I'm a tea drinker, so I have my lemon honey ginger tea
Mm,
that I drink every day, all day long.
good
So
stuff.
we're gonna have a conversation with coffee, and I'm gonna spill the tea with you.
Oh, okay.
Woo!
All right. So everyone, so Valerie Mason Cunningham, she is well, let me rephrase that. Dr. Valerie Mason Cunningham. So she is the co-founder and co-CEO of Mason and Rice. So Valerie, tell me a little bit about kind of how you got started. I mean, I know some of your backstory, but tell our listeners, and again, this podcast is for entrepreneurs and want to share all of your goodness with our listeners because I'm sure that you will definitely motivate someone today.
Thank you, Cherise. No pressure. Thank you so much. So, Mason and Rice is a strategic consultancy firm
Mhm.
that is focused on helping organizations and leaders in this time of uncertainty, ambiguity, a lot of stress, and the playbooks that we all have been used to are not the playbooks that we can just go to. So
Mhm.
we are actually living in this world where we have to create as we go. And in doing that, what Mason and Rice is focused on is what we've coined this phrase of a leader shift mindset, where
Mm.
we're actually supporting organizations to help leaders lead with empathy, vulnerability, and yet strength and determination and grit. And
Mm.
by doing that, it radiates inside of themselves as positive energy. And like energy attracts like energy. And so
Mhm.
when they're talking with their teams or their organizations, they want to project that type of energy so that they can rally the troops. So when they arrive to the workplace, they can thrive in the workplace. And so Mason and Rice is focused on helping those transformations happen through understanding your most valuable asset, which is your people. And how do you manage that? And so, my business partner, who
Mhm.
is co founder and co CEO of Mason and Rice, she and I started together at Xerox more than 35 years ago
Wow.
in the same trainee class.
Oh, wow. That part I didn't know.
Yes. And Emily, her name is Emily Rice Reynolds, she and I started in training in New York City for Xerox,
Mhm.
and our parallels lives were amazing, both for personal and professional. And then she left Xerox and went to Canon, but then she came back.
Mhm.
I stayed with Xerox for more than 38 years,
Mhm.
and I had amazing career. And so one of the things after this 38 years of success,
Mhm.
traveling around the globe, working in multiple organizations, working with multiple clients
Mhm.
and people. She and I talked about this about 7 years ago, that there's still so much in this world and in the way people manage people
Hmm.
that we were very spoiled at Xerox with. We had an unbelievable training. We had unbelievable opportunities that we would push people to go into. We
Hmm.
were both the victims and the victors of a lot of those manifestations of progressive leadership. And
Hmm.
so, in that dynamic space, once you come out of it, you realize that it's not always the same. And some
Hmm.
of those things that we took for granted, like management process, spending time with your people, not just on the business, but to get to know them and
Hmm.
to generate the environment where everybody can share and grow together.
Hmm.
We were like, wait a minute, maybe there's an opportunity here for our next chapter to
Hmm.
really come out and be strategic consultants in advising and coaching and helping organizations really lift up those levels of skills and talent so that they can really project the innovation, the growth, the revenues, and success metrics that they have in place. And so we started Mason and Rice,
Hmm.
really about 6 years ago,
Hmm.
but we officially launched in 2022. And it was because we knew our experiences and our wisdom and our successes
Hmm.
with global business acumen, managing multi-million dollar P&Ls,
Hmm.
managing more than thousands of people in our organizations,
Hmm.
and being very connected to the customer
Hmm.
and understanding the customer and our employees as our internal customer to really make sure that we were galvanizing all that energy to
Hmm.
really have growth and success in every aspect of our business. And so that's how we formed Mason and Rice.
That is, I mean, I love the story of just kind of that corporate foundation. I always talk about that kind of, I look at just the successes that I've had and continue to have in my business. And I feel like my corporate foundation is very much a big piece of that success. So I love that, that you guys 30 plus years in the same training class, kind of learning and building and growing together, and then able to take that world-class training that you guys have gone through over the years and able to really implement that for major corporations, as well as I know you work with like smaller organizations as well. And, so it's great that you're able to kind of pass that on and kind of share that knowledge.
Yes, yes, we do. And what's interesting, Charisse, is business processes, no matter how large or small the
Hmm.
organization is really the backbone of your infrastructure success.
Yep.
And a lot of our smaller businesses don't have the time or energy sometimes to really put all of those things in place because they are the be it all to everybody and everything in their business. And I
Yeah.
respect that and I
Hmm.
understand that. And so having a partner like a Mason and Rice to come in and support you in putting together some of those infrastructure tools, tips, you know, are so amazing. And
Hmm.
so we enjoy what we do. And we work with all companies of all sizes in multiple industries because also part of our learning with Emily and I,
Hmm.
we spent a lot of time in multiple industries with different size companies
Hmm.
around the globe.
That makes sense too, because Xerox had all the different clients that you guys have served over the years. So it's not all just the big giant brands. Yeah, I didn't think about that till you just said that.
Yes, yes. And we understand that you can't do business by yourself all the time. You need partnerships,
Yeah.
you need alliances, you
Hmm.
need to have people that you can trust that maybe has a little bit more subject matter expertise than you do, but
Hmm.
that connection between you and them is the ultimate solution for your customer. And
Yeah.
so you build that bridge from the customer requirement to how you, as the supplier, deliver on those requirements. And you
Mhm.
can do that with partners. And, sometimes they can be a competitor,
Mhm.
but you become a frenemy, so to speak, in
Yeah.
order to satisfy a particular situation because it's not an either or, it's a both and everybody wins.
Yeah. No, definitely. I agree with that. Um, so before I go into my second question, and I want to just kind of take a second just to talk about, so it's been 6 years, right? And I'm sure that, don't want to talk about politics at all, but just the shift of, I can't imagine you talk about like playbooks, right? I just feel like 2025, as you mentioned, all the playbooks out the window. Like you two must be so inundated right now. Like, can you talk a little bit about that? Just,
Absolutely. As I like to coin the phrase since the COVID situation, we are all living in our season of RE.
hmm
And that means you have to reimagine, you have to rethink, you
hmm
may have to regroup in order to rejuvenate your strategies so that you can be ready for
hmm
whatever is coming your way. And there's this book called Good to Great that if you've never read it, you
hmm
should, because it really talks about how you have to be ready with an arsenal, prepared with your different tools, and be resilient to
hmm
go through these storms that are going to happen, but not bow down to them, but reshuffle your focus on how you will get through that storm
mm
because this too shall pass.
Yeah.
So it really takes a strong leader shift mindset, a
hmm
growth mindset versus a fixed mindset.
hmm
And this is what Emily and I really have started to shift, even in our business, because clearly we wanted to focus in on the value of the words
hmm
diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and belonging.
hmm
And while the letters are, crazy right now, we
hmm
never focused in on the letters. And we focused in on the belonging piece of it because human value in society, we have to belong to something.
hmm
And we have to belong to something that we can trust, respect,
Yep.
come in as our authentic self, but
hmm
understanding we may have to shift and mold into a culture that's not necessarily against all of our values, because if it is, then we're in the wrong space.
Yeah.
But if it is really aligning to the values that we feel and believe, we have an opportunity to help change that trajectory
hmm
through the conversations that we have, through the getting to know one another. And so, one of the things that Emily and I really started to focus in on, like I said, is this leadership mindset. Because whether you manage people or not, you are a leader.
hmm
You're a leader of yourself. You could be a leader in your family, in your community, at your church, with your children. If you're on supporting your children's sports teams or
hmm
any of that.
Yeah.
Leadership is out there, and we all have that inside of us. A lot of us just don't like to recognize it or practice it. And you know that from
hmm
being a leadership Westchester grad, whoop, whoop,
Yeah.
class of 2018 for my team out there. But it is important to have some basic principles around how organizations can really understand the value of their people
hmm
and the connectiveness from your people to the people you're serving. Because if you're not right in house, when you go out of the house,
hmm
people are going to feel that vibe.
Yeah.
And even though you may show up and you'll have the great talk track and all of that, if you're radiating some energy that's not the same energy of the words you're speaking,
Yeah.
that body language tells a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
we talk a lot about that too, around this communication aspect of it, that your words really only penetrate 7% of the time, but 58% of the time is body language, and the other
Mm,
30 plus percent is your actual verbal communication, your tonality of
mm,
voice. So we really have gone from just really taking a page out of what Xerox really manifested since the early 70s.
mm,
That's why this whole thing around these letters is comical, because Xerox was into balanced workforce, and balanced workforce was giving people opportunities that may not otherwise get those opportunities, and put around them, like you put around anybody else,
mm-hmm.
those resources and tools for them to be successful. And
Yeah.
oh, by the way, you also have to not only give them the opportunity to succeed, but if they fail, it's not the end of the world. There's lessons inside of that. And so
Mm,
we need to just regroup and understand how to go forward. So,
yeah.
yes, we've had a lot of conversations on this. We've had a lot of clients calling us
I'm
saying,
sure.
what's happening? What's going on? And when we tell them, the focus today is, as you know, leaders today are experiencing this chaos, this ambiguity, this uncertainty. And all it's doing is laying on stress and complications that's creating chaos in the
Mm,
workplace.
yeah.
And you have between 5 and 6 generations now sitting in the workplace.
That's
They
right.
all don't have the same language. They
Mhm.
all don't think the same way. They all don't process the same way. How do you take that human ingenuity that's there and galvanize it so
Mm,
that it can be the most powerful source of energy that your business projects into the world, where people are like gravitating to want to come to you because the other people are still in that state of chaos,
yeah.
and they've got to run their business with a partner they know they can trust.
Yeah. No, I love that. Thank you for sharing. That makes a lot of sense. So, Valerie, what sets Mason and Rice apart from others that are in your space?
That's a great question, Charisse, because there's a lot of consultants out here. There's a lot of people talking about leadership. There's a lot of energy in this space. What sets Mason and Rice apart from the others is because of our backgrounds and our experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say that is because we're not coming in with a cookie cutter approach to how an organization needs to go from where they are to where they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So we are very much into customizing
Mm-hmm.
our facilitated learning. And we call it facilitated learning versus training because it's not something where we come in for a couple of days or a few hours or maybe even a whole year and just trying to pour into your head something that you need to memorize. So when we walk away, you just go to this, playbook of 5 things and make
Mm-hmm.
it work.
Yeah.
We know that in any environment, you can go in with the same recipe, but the results will come out differently because there are other aspects going on
Mm-hmm.
in their environment. And so we want to come in and really understand, what is the need?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it important? Where do they see themselves going? And if they could close their eyes and vision what that is it successful in their mind? And
Mm-hmm.
if it is, then let's come back and now start with where you currently are, where
Mm-hmm.
you want to go, and how we can get you there. That sets us apart. And
Mm-hmm.
we really spend a lot of time on that.
Mm-hmm.
And what's also important is we just had a client recently that we were working with, and
Mm-hmm.
we had discussed exactly how the curriculum was going to go, the whole process was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
But at every point, we were learning more because of the insights and inputs and experiences and stories that were being told that would change our next meeting. So we would better enable that buildup of learning for that organization. And we were with them almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an amazing transformation, Sherry.
Mm,
Amazing transformation, Cherise, in these individuals that would come in for this opportunity to learn something new. People who wouldn't always speak up in meetings,
mm-hmm.
people who were very shy and introverted,
Mm-hmm.
now were speaking up with
Mm.
creative ideas. And that's the whole point.
That's the power,
You
right?
That's the power. And so it is a difference. It is our vector of differentiation
Mm-hmm.
that we bring to the table. We absolutely pride ourselves almost on being active listeners.
Mm.
We really want to listen to what our clients are saying, their situations are. And we will go through the 5 whys. Why
Mm-hmm.
is that important to you? And why is that important to you? And
Mm-hmm.
why is that important to you? And why is that important to you? And why do you believe that it's going to make a change? If you go through the 5 whys, you'll really get to the crux of
Mm-hmm.
where those opportunities lie. And we don't call them problems.
Yeah.
We look at them as all opportunities. And when we go through it, we
Mm-hmm.
learn from it and we gain more insight on how to keep moving forward. Even if something may have fallen and really wasn't as powerful as maybe we wanted,
Mm-hmm.
we learned from that together.
Mm.
So every time, also, Charisse, when Emily and I go out on the field,
Mm-hmm.
our clients, we leave it all on the field. We
Mm.
walk out of there, we are exhausted in a positive way
Positive, yeah.
because we give and
Mm-hmm.
give and give and learn and give and learn and give. It's not an either or.
Yeah.
It's a both and all the time. And we come in positive.
Yeah.
We really strive to come in. So we're a leading example of how to arrive and thrive.
Mm. Love it, love it, love it. I mean, I had the pleasure of being on a call with you about a project and just the energy and just, kind of the fresh ideas. So I I definitely can speak on it. I mean, you know what I think. Rock star. All right. So what's new? Anything new happening, Mason and Rice? Anything exciting well, I'm sure with everything that's happening in the world, there's a lot new, but anything special that you want to share with our listeners?
Well, one of our focuses is to really help organizations as they look to their conferences, their kickoff meetings, their board meetings. We have worked with boards even on a lot of these things we've been talking about.
Mm,
And why is that? Because boards are now recognizing they have to do a leader shift in order to support the organizations that they are overseeing and
mm,
have oversight for. And sometimes the organization is limited, and it's not a knock on the organization, but they're limited to their experiences and expertise to really think out of the box broadly.
mm-hmm.
And board members now are really trying to bring these new ideas, but not so much to crush them with all these actions, but to lift them up with a breath of new thoughts and ideas and rolling up their sleeves and getting engaged and
Mm-hmm.
being a part of making the solution work versus just being a talking head.
Yeah.
So we have done some great work with boards on the 3 A's of a board. being an advocate,
Mm-hmm.
being an advisor, or an ambassador,
Mm-hmm.
and being an asker. Because, with everything, especially in the nonprofit space that's going on
Yeah.
with grants and funding, you've got to have a different mindset now to go after revenues in order to support the continuation of the businesses that you are responsible for.
Yeah.
And so this is something that I felt, and when I was the board chair of Volunteer New York,
Mm-hmm.
it happened during COVID. And I quickly pivoted
Mm-hmm.
to remembering those crisis management times at Xerox, like
Mm-hmm.
Hurricane Storm Sandy. I
Mm-hmm.
was the senior vice president running the operations in the New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, and Delaware region. It's
Mm-hmm.
the biggest region of revenues for Xerox.
Mm-hmm.
When Hurricane Storm Sandy hit, a lot of people were like, it's just going to be another storm. My senior team and I, we hunkled down and we said, we're going to believe the facts. This thing is going to come and we need our people protected. And so one of the things that, I learned quickly was crisis management
Mm-hmm.
and how not to get absorbed in the issue that was happening, but really stay focused on the pathway forward.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that I brought to Volunteer New York as the board chair, because we could have definitely gotten really crazy
Mm-hmm.
because our whole business model was people touching people.
Yeah.
That's what volunteers do.
Exactly.
But
Yep.
I will tell you, giving that team the total opportunity to be creative,
Mm-hmm.
reimagine, and rethink with our board's support and blessings,
Mm-hmm.
we came through growing revenue, growing resources, and being an integral part of our Westchester County's implementation of those COVID vaccinations. Now,
Yeah.
we weren't given the vaccinations, that was the medical teams and the hospital teams. We weren't, managing,
Mm-hmm.
the securities and all of that, but we managed the volunteers that supported
Mm-hmm.
those hundreds of thousands of people that were lining up to go through the process to get their vaccinations. And that was one of my most proudest moments as a part of that organization's leadership. So Mason and Rice is really bringing those opportunities too. So we're excited about being a part of board retreats. We're
Mm-hmm.
excited about being a part of organizations retreats.
Mm-hmm.
We love to do speaking engagements. Both Emily and I have been thoroughly trained on speaking. I'm a TEDx speaker, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
and delivered a TEDx back in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So we have all of these capabilities that we're like, wait a minute, we should be bringing this also to our client base, our potential client base.
I like
And
it.
so we're open and ready for the art of the possible.
I love it. I
Because
love
possible.
it. Okay, so my favorite question, I want you to share something, some advice with, and it can be either a new entrepreneur, someone who's thinking about kind of jumping in. It could be an entrepreneur that has been in business for a while and kind of hitting a rough patch. Any of those scenarios. What advice would you share?
It's a great question.
Thank you.
I would offer this.
Mm-hmm.
Remember what you stand for.
Mm.
Stay close to your values. Don't loosen up on your values, and stay connected to those who share those same values. Because as an entrepreneur, whether you've been in business a long time or you're thinking about it, like you said, or you're a startup,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to need that board of advisors around you. And I don't mean the technical board of advisors, but those mentors
Mm-hmm.
that you may have had as you were growing up or in your other lines of business before becoming an entrepreneur. You need to have those sponsors, those people that you've connected with that can open doors for you, that can help you navigate through those seas of uncertainty, to support your efforts with ideas and resources that can help you be successful. And please do not feel like you cannot ask for help,
Mm-hmm.
or that if you are experiencing a bad day, that you can't go to those trusted advisors to be able to say, I'm just not feeling it. I really need some support here. Because any person who has achieved greatness always will say, I'm so grateful to others.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody goes to from good to great alone. And my husband always sends me this amazing quote every Friday as we close out our week.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes, good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best.
Love that. Love that. Thank you for sharing and thank you for being here with us today. So where can everyone find you? What's the best place for them to find you?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn, Valerie Mason Cunningham on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
You can also go to Mason and Rice website,
Mm-hmm.
www.masonandrice.com.
Okay.
And you can also send an email to me. That's Valerie at masonandrice.com.
Okay. Thank you. Much gratitude to you, friend. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing all of those nuggets and looking forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you. And I just have to do one shout out, Cherise,
Yes.
to our mutual friend, Jan Merchandani,
Yes.
because she was the one that introduced us many years ago. And she's
Yep.
also my Leadership Westchester grad.
Love Jan.
So, Jan, I know you're out there.
Yay!
Thank you for introducing us.
Yes, for sure. All right. Looking forward to seeing you in person soon.
Absolutely. Thank you
All
so
right.
much, Cherise. And
Thank you.
cheers to a great day
Yes.
by choice.
Yes, by choice. I like that. All right. Talk soon.